spend a couple of wintry days with me in New York City. We're gonna make some vegan red velvet cupcakes for a birthday party. We're gonna go see my cookbook in a bookstore for the first time, which is honestly still so surreal. We'll go over to the Bryant Park Christmas market and try some of the vegan options. They actually had some really delicious food, and we'll explore Little Italy because it is so festive and cozy this time of year. I'm about to head into the city and go to Rockefeller Center. There's a bookstore there that has my book in stock, so I'm gonna see my book on a bookshelf in a bookstore for the very first time, and it's gonna be in Rockefeller Center in New York City. I'm saying it to you, but there's a part of me that doesn't fully feel it. It doesn't feel real, but I'm really excited, and of course I'm going to take you guys with me. I'm going to be meeting up with Nicholas there, and actually I'm kind of telling you guys the end of the day plan. What I'm doing now is I'm actually going to Little Italy first because I've been reading this really cute Christmas rom-com book that's like one of those holiday movies. It's like a Hallmark movie in a book kind of feeling. It was a little bit cheesy, but I really enjoyed the world that it created, and most of it takes place in Little Italy. I've been there before, but I know that it's really Christmassy and festive right now, and I'm excited to kind of see it again with fresh eyes through the perspective of the character that I just spent so much time with. So that's what we're gonna do. Maybe get some hot chocolate while we're there if I can find a vegan hot chocolate, and then we're going to the bookstore and finishing the night at the Bryant Park Christmas Village because I think they do have some vegan options. So it's gonna be a really Christmassy day and the first day that I see my book in a bookstore, so let's go. So in the book, the two characters go to a Christmas store on Mulberry Street, and I have to assume it was this one because this Christmas store is open all year round and they sell so many different kinds of Christmas ornaments. The main character is a chef and she got a little whisk ornament, so I was kind of looking for one of those, but I just sort of window shopped and had a really nice time. They had so much variety here. And I saw so many amazing gelato places, and lots of gelato places will have vegan-friendly ice creams because usually the fruit flavors and sometimes even the dark chocolate flavors happen to be vegan. So that was definitely the case with several places here, including the strawberry and dark chocolate flavors at Figo, which was so good. Almost dropped it. And yes, I was eating frozen ice cold gelato in freezing weather. But it was really fun, especially since the book kind of centers around gelato. I thought it was appropriate, and this was such a good combination. It was like a chocolate-covered strawberry. One of the things I love about New York is that there's so much history, and it's so well preserved, but that history exists alongside modern life and the new and the upcoming, and they all kind of coexist in one space, and I think that's really nice. And it's no more true than in Little Italy, where some of the restaurants and shops have been there for over 100 years. I loved this one, which was kind of like a thrift shop for all things Italian. You could find mix and match espresso cups and plates and bowls and tablecloths, and especially if you're doing a themed menu like the Summer in Italy menu in my cookbook, going to a thrift store is a great way to add some really fun pieces that have character and have a little bit of a story behind them and just make entertaining a little bit more fun and personal. So I love perusing stores like that for that reason. After that, I took the train uptown to go to Rockefeller Center where I was going to meet Nicholas. I stumbled upon the Dior show. It was like a Christmas light show, and then headed past the tree at Rockefeller Center to the bookshop where Nicholas was waiting for me. This is the point where I started to feel a little bit nervous as we were approaching the bookshop. It kind of all hit me at once, and I got nervous and excited and also kind of, I don't know, I went into shock a little bit when I actually saw it. It didn't hit me all at once, and then slowly I started to get it. My book and the cooking section. What? That's so crazy. I have so many videos of me in the cookbook section at different bookstores throughout the years, and I've always said one day I'm gonna have a cookbook here, and now I'm in the cookbook section of a bookstore and my book's here. Even watching this now, I still can't quite believe it. This clip was actually from the Prince Street location where it was right there on the table front and center with some of my favorite authors, and it's just such a pinch me moment that I'm so grateful for. So thank you to everyone who got the book or who gifted it to a friend or family member for the holidays. I think sharing vegan recipes is such a powerful and important way to kind of be an activist without being too in your face. It's such a cool way to share what you love and hopefully inspire people to make more plant-based meals, and to think that my book is part of that in some way is just beyond special. So thank you all so much. After the bookstore, we went to the market where we got this really delicious Indian food. This chana masala I've been trying to replicate it ever since. It was so well seasoned, so delicious, lots of flavorful spices, but not too hot spicy. We also had these vegan samosas that were just perfection with the cilantro chutney. I was in heaven. It was the perfect meal. I noticed that they also had a few more vegan options at some of the stalls. There weren't a lot of vegan options, but there were a few, including this vegan hot chocolate. And I loved that they didn't even have regular hot chocolate. It was vegan hot chocolate or nothing. We ended up getting some hot cider and walked around the market. They had some ornament places, some kitchen supplies, some art stores, but I loved this shop that had these gorgeous sweaters. We sipped our cider and had a really good time exploring the markets. I'm in the process of making some vegan red velvet cupcakes because it's Nicholas's birthday and he's at work right now. So I am done with work for the day and I'm going to turn this place into a birthday party so that when we get back from dinner, we'll do cake and presents. And I've got some fun surprises for him. One of them being the red velvet cupcakes, and they're topped with vegan cream cheese frosting, which I just think is so good and so versatile. I used it for this fluffy matcha cake recipe that I made back in the spring. And that has a green tea, like very tender, fluffy matcha cake with the cream cheese frosting and then fresh raspberries, and that combination was so delicious. I also made these key lime cookies a couple months ago that have a key lime version of cream cheese frosting. It's the same thing pretty much, but it has lime juice and lime zest, so it has this extra citrusy note. These cookies are probably some of my favorite of all time, and I considered making them for his birthday, but I know he really loves red velvet, so I wanted to do that. So I'm gonna finish the cupcakes, wrap presents, decorate, get myself ready, and then it will be dinner time. I'm going to put the full recipe down below, and that will include my vegan cream cheese frosting and the cupcake recipe, which is actually not my recipe. It's a recipe from Nora Cooks. But whenever I make a cupcake recipe, I like to first line the pan with some nonstick paper, and then I will also grease the top of it so that there's no sticking, because that can really ruin your cupcakes. And I like to have this prepped first and ready to go so that as soon as the batter is mixed, the batter can go directly into the oven. That really helps with the texture. Then I'm gonna mix the vegan buttermilk by combining some plant milk with some apple cider vinegar, stir it up and set that aside. Then it's time for the dry ingredients, and we're just gonna mix together some flour, cacao, baking powder, and salt. You wanna sift this in so that you don't get any lumps, because as you can see, there tends to be some clumps when it comes to cacao, or even baking powder, baking soda can clump up like that, and you don't want to have that in your actual cake. Then I'm going to move on to the wet ingredients and combine some vegan butter with some canola oil, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of applesauce, and some white vinegar. There's quite a lot of vinegar in red velvet cupcakes. There's like a certain tanginess that can be achieved with vinegar. Then we will combine the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients, add in some of the buttermilk, and mix this all together. So you just want to mix until well combined and then bake. And these baked for about 22 minutes in my oven, and they came out like this. Now I didn't add red food dye. That's why they don't look like red velvet cupcakes, but the food dye doesn't actually add any flavor, just adds color, which yes is fun, but I just felt like it was unnecessary. It doesn't contribute to the flavor, so I figured we would just keep them plain like this. Now to make the cream cheese frosting, the first thing is that you want to make sure that you're using softened room temperature cream cheese and butter. You don't want it to be melted, but you don't want it to be cold, otherwise it will never really incorporate properly. I specifically like to use the Kite Hill vegan cream cheese for this. I think it has such a nice tanginess and the consistency works really well for this frosting. You want to whip the butter and the cream cheese together until it's light and fluffy with the vanilla, and then add your powdered sugar and your salt, and keep mixing this on about high, like medium high, for 2 to 3 minutes, and it will become really nice and thick. Now here's a really good trick if you want a cute cupcake, but you're not like one of those people who's really detail oriented and you don't have time to fuss with a bunch of little details when you're decorating. Put your frosting in a bag, snip the tip a little bit wider than you think it needs to be, and then kind of pipe it in an up and down motion, doing 3 presses, and it will create this little like cone shape, almost like a melted snow cap or something, which I think looks really cute on its own. You could do some sprinkles, but I decided to put cookies inside of each one. These are ginger snap cookies, and it was getting a little bit soft, so I put it in the fridge for a second before I finished decorating, because with frosting you really want to make sure that it stays nice and cold. And then Nicholas really likes the show Futurama, and so I found these little birthday decoration cake topper things on Amazon, so I decided to also place them on top of the cupcakes once they had chilled a little bit, and I think it ended up looking so cute. Then I got started on wrapping presents, and one of the things I got him was this automatic milk frother because he loves cappuccinos, and this one makes foam for cappuccinos and lattes and also cold foam. So I thought it would be perfect with some oat milk. And then he loves to go hiking, so I thought these binoculars would be fun. And this card is actually a handmade card that I found on Amazon, but I love that it has a chicken. It's kind of an inside joke with us, so I knew he would smile as soon as he saw the card. And this is the artist who made the card, so I wanted to give them a shout out. I wrapped up his presents and I set them all out on the table and wrote in his card and just made the space feel like a birthday party. Like I wanted him to come home and have that feeling of festivity and celebration. And I talk about in my cookbook how having a dinner party is one way that you can turn the place you live into a home, because you can really transform it into a place that feels different than your everyday living space, just with a few simple touches. And I think a birthday can kind of have the same effect. And my home definitely felt that way when I headed out to dinner later this night. I knew that we were going to come home to a place that felt warm and cozy and welcoming and celebratory. And as much as we had a nice time at dinner, I could not wait for him to get back and see all the surprises that I had set up for him. All right, everything is set up. I got myself ready, and now I'm going to go meet Nicholas for dinner. I am going to put more layers on though and wash the bronzer off of my hands before I go. Remind me to do that. But I do feel like whenever I'm gonna be outside, I know how to dress myself properly. Like I know how to really bundle up and stay warm if I'm gonna be doing a walk or just like outdoor activities. But it's the going in and going out that I haven't quite figured out yet since moving to the East Coast, because the heat's always on when you get into a car or an Uber. When you're in the subway, it's really hot, but then when you get out, it's really cold. And when you go into the restaurant, it's pretty warm and toasty, and then it's freezing outside. So I feel like I haven't been able to figure out how to dress properly so that I'm not like sweltering once I get inside. So I'm gonna be wearing this dress with some layers on top and then a coat, and I feel like I can just peel that off when I'm sitting in the restaurant and then bundle back up when we go outside, and that should be fine. I don't know. If you have any tips for layering, please let me know in the comments. I am gonna put some of this on because whenever I have shoulders or collarbones bare, I love to put this on. It's the anti-aging balm from Osea. Look at that. It is so reflective. So whenever you're going to like a candlelit dinner or a Christmas party or anything like that, that's always like my finishing touch when I'm going to a dinner or like a holiday party or anything like that if I'm taking pictures. So thought I would show you. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Next Sunday's vlog is actually going to come out on Wednesday, so that'll be the 27th. So there's not going to be a video on Christmas Eve or on New Year's Eve, and then regular videos will start up again on Sundays in January. So just wanted to let you guys know, if you come back here next Sunday, the video is going to be up on Wednesday. But I hope you guys have a really great week, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.